Hello and welcome to Tabletop for One. Today I am going to do something a little different for Tanares Adventures, as I am going to read from the quest journal and go through the character creation that the developers for Tanares Adventures provided. They provided an interesting little mini game to help you decide what kind of classes you should choose for your adventure. So I'm going to go through, read through the choices, find out which classes I should have picked. And the last time I did this, I laughed a lot. So we'll see how this goes. All right. On page 5 in the journal, you'll find this. This is the beginning of the game. You're instructed to go here from the rule book and the adventure cards and everything. This is right prior to the first scenario of the game. And so let's get started. It says it's nighttime. You keep away from the main roads. One of the two moons is shining bright. Foes had been pursuing you after a successful adventuring day, and you think you've lost them. So it tells you to grab all 40 cubes, 5 copies of 8 different colors except black. And your answer is gonna track via these colored cubes. All right. So it says the fast-paced journey takes its toll, and you decide to set up camp. What will you do? Will you rest? Your party depends on every ounce of strength you can spare, and your muscles are sore from today's fighting. Or B, keep watch. You never know when your enemies might catch up to you. Or C, prepare a meal for everyone. That ought to lift their spirits for tomorrow. Or D, get away from the others to have some alone time and collect your thoughts, as the party relies on you for a good part of their strategies. Or E, go hunting. In the best case scenario, you bring back good food. In the worst case scenario, you find enemy scouts and take them down before they report on your position. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a meal for everyone. So with that choice, I get 1 green cube and 1 brown cube. You'll see them on the side here, as indicated. And we'll go on to the next part. It says you can't sleep. To distract your mind, you talk about the most exciting piece of recent news: discoveries in the field of the Myrokian curse and the Avatar dragons. The next day, you reach the safety of Fisherman's Wharf. You meet in a tavern to drink and split your loot. Each of you tries to keep silent composure of a mighty hero who does not need to advertise their feats. But your tongues progressively loosen as the barmaid brings you endless spirit refills. Oh my goodness. The inauguration is today, she says, out of breath between each round, of the Arena of Future. Visitors from all over the continent. Even the Emperor is there. Customers see heroes such as yourselves call their friends over. Good for reputation. As long as you're sitting there, I will keep serving you, free of charge. She winks and disappears into the crowd. When you notice that evenly splitting your loot is impossible, the bragging becomes inevitable. So, which of the following would you most likely correspond to what you would have done in an adventure? A, keeping you alive was tiresome. You should all be thankful I was there to heal your wounds, or none of us would be here. B, if not for my splitting the ogre's skull open before he even knew we were there, imagine what he would have done to us all. C, that's only because of the distraction I created and the intelligence I gathered was good enough. Otherwise, none of you would have been able to do your jobs. D, we were outnumbered and would have been overwhelmed if not for my draining the life from those goblins. And as if that weren't enough, I directed their energy to the orb and opened the sealed gate. And E, you only had the time to do any of these things because I was single-handedly holding all the goblins at the door. So I think we're going to go with D, draining the life from the goblins and redirecting the energy. So with D, I gain 1 purple cube. All right. A bard plays a paced melody while singing a fresh epic tale of the end of the wasteland. The bard doesn't have the insider knowledge as you do as heroes, but their verses tell a reasonably accurate story. The glasses vibrate on top of the tables. Outside the tavern, you hear explosives and shouting. "Oh my," the barmaid exclaims, a hand on her panting chest. "What is going on in the arena? It seems that all our taxes were spent on useless drums and wizards to put on a freak show." Most of the crowd instinctively leaves the tavern to see what is happening. After a while, the excited shouting becomes terrified screaming. You see people running outside, stumbling over each other. Before you can react, sinister figures, weapons drawn, approach the tavern. So, do I grab a weapon and charge, or B, hide behind the counter to surprise attack them from behind? C, turn the table over to defend from the arrows and get ready to fight? D, help the barmaid and bard escape? E, destroy the structure holding the kegs together so they'll collapse onto the invaders. Let's go with E, destroy the structure. And that will give us one more purple cube. So we got another purple cube here. All right. You beat the enemies and leave the tavern after helping wharfers and tourists escape. Outside the city, it burns. It seems like there are many more of those enemies invading the town. You decide to spread out and gather resources and information about the invasion. Will I try to find survivors and mobilize them against the enemy army? Or B, go to the old blacksmith shop and grab as many weapons and pieces of armor as I can? C, stay with the rescued civilians and protect them while the rest of the party scouts ahead? D, climb the tallest building around and assess the situation? Or E, sneak around and try to capture an enemy to interrogate? I say let's arm ourselves. So we're going to go with B, and that's going to give us a yellow and a red cube. All right. Now, your help is significant, but ultimately pointless. There's not much a few heroes can do against an army. You need to run, head toward the city gates, and flee. Unfortunately, you've already drawn too much attention. A small crowd gathers around you, the best protection they could find. The pack stands out on the road, right between the arena of Future and the Imperial Palace. Before you can retreat, you're surrounded by a Kemet. This is likely a fight to the death. With no time for strategic schemes, you decide to face the enemy that behaves most like you, so that you can fend them off in a contest of similar skills for as long as possible, while the rest of the populace makes a run for it. So, the enemy that is most like me is that no one is stronger than me. Let them come. I'm serving death. Face their barbarian. My magic powers are unmatched. You can support allies and dispel enemy spells. Face the necromancer. Or C, I've never lost a battle of attrition and hope to keep my streak alive. A resilience is my middle name. Face the warrior. Or D, your game is all about strategy, cunning, dirty fighting. Face the spy. Or E, no one is more accurate and nimble than I. Face the archer. I'm gonna go with B. My magic powers are unmatched. That gives me one purple and one green cube. All right. Looks like I got a lot of purple cubes here. The fight is brutal. Your abilities prove superior, but you're outnumbered. One of the Kemet gets through your defenses, and just as you're about to get hit, a blast of thunder knocks them down. You look up. The sky is a clear blue. The origin of thunder was a tall woman in white and blue shining armor, heading a squad of Iron Hand soldiers on top of the hill where the arena stands. She comes to you, shouting instructions to the populace. It seems that the east gate is near and still open. You follow the pack. Hold on, she shouts, stopping you in your tracks. I am Sidura, the Iron Hand captain. The Empire and its people could use your help. Please introduce yourselves. So here we are at the point at which you choose your heroes. And it tells you there's some restrictions here that you can't choose Magenta or any of the heroes from the special combat role. They must be a different combat role. And if we pick Gazzini, Cordal, Sidura, or the Emperor, we'll have some inconsistencies with the story. So it tells you to build a balanced group. And you choose a healer instead of a commander, as it requires knowledge of fewer rules. That's a recommendation there. But here we go. The choices you made thus far have highlighted a few of your personality traits. If you wish to continue playing by the style, pick a combat role for which you have the most cubes. But of course, you're free to choose whoever you want. So as it stands, I have 3 purple cubes, which is the most, so that would be a controller. And I guess that's because the controller is actually my most favorite class so far, even though I really like the healer too, which I happen to have 2 cubes for. And then of course we've got the brute here, we have the commander class here, and the tactician here. That's the bruiser, is the yellow. So I think in the end, you know, you can decide what you want, play it how you will. I actually have a controller, a brute, a healer, and a tank in my current campaign, which you already know if you've seen my playthroughs. But I definitely recommend just doing this little mini game of figuring out your personality and figuring out how to develop your characters. It adds character to this game. It kind of gives you like a little mini role-playing experience, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So let me know in the comments below what you ended up with, how many cubes of each color, and who you chose for your first party for the campaign. I'd like to hear. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here, and I thank you very much for watching Tabletop for One, and have a great night.